And we are now on item 9, report the monitoring officer. So if I can ask Kelly to take us through this item, please. Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of this meeting is to inform members of the information reports which have been published since your last scheduled meeting, and to ask you to note the same. The detail of the report is at 4.1. As you can see, there has just been the one information report published, and that relates to urgent delegated decisions, which is also appended to your pack. I therefore ask you to note the publication of that document. Thank you.
Note the report, Mr. Mayor.
The recommendations 9.1 moved. Has it seconded?
Seconded.
Question, Councillor Alex Williams.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, it's just a procedural question, which I'm sure the monitoring officer will be able to answer. My group members and I are a little bit concerned about the suspension of the relevant parts of the council's contract procedure rules in respect of home to school transport contracts. So I'm just asking whether it's would be procedurally correct to ask COSC to look at this retrospectively and scrutinise whether everything is in order.
Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. COSC, I can certainly write to the chair of COSC to explain what's happened here. This suspension was done under the rules of the delegations. So they are the delegated powers that have been approved previously by full council, and the delegation was taken in accordance with that scheme. I can certainly send the details to either yourself, Councillor Williams, or to the chair of COSC to explain that.
That's great. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kelly, for that. Right, members, it's been moved and seconded. You're all happy with that recommendation report?
Right.
Yeah.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to item 10 now then. 3 questions. Oh, that's right, yes, 2 questions. Right, so there's going to be 1 question now. It was judged from Councillor Tim Thomas. He'll be dealing with that via email. His follow-up question. Can I ask members, we'll go to this item now, any question themselves will have opportunities for asking the question. Then there's 2 supplementary questions. But please don't indicate any supplementary questions, indicate until I say so, and I'll take them in order as they arrive on the screen. So first, over to Councillor Ross Pennant-Thomas. Would you like to sort of put the question?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Diolch, and my thanks to the leader as well for the comprehensive response. I am really pleased to see that it's cross-cutting across policy areas in the council, although I would argue that some, if not many, of the projects and schemes mentioned have been with us for some time, and we appear no further forward. I do have a supplementary, Mr. Mayor. It won't be news to any members or officers of the council that within our boundaries are some of the most disadvantaged communities in Wales. And increasingly there's a disconnect, I think, between the everyday reality on the ground, political rhetoric, decision making and outcomes. So I'd like Bridgend County Borough Council, Mr. Mayor, to explore the setting up of a Poverty Truth Commission, following colleagues in Swansea and other councils, among others, to ensure that people affected by poverty are involved in decision making about how we tackle it. So my question, Mr. Mayor, to what extent does the local authority currently involve people with lived experience of poverty? Effectively, they are the experts by experience in its decision-making processes in tackling poverty. And will the leader commit to exploring the setting up of a Poverty Truth Commission here in Bridgend so we can lay bare and be transparent about the reality and the challenges of poverty and work together to co-produce solutions? Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the supplementary question. We're certainly prepared to consider that that suggestion and also explore what impact that's had on people who are in poverty and what practical outcomes have resulted from
Sorry, Leader, break it up.
Mr. Mayor, and we will of course come back to members.
I'm not sure if other members, I didn't catch any of that myself, but if other members did. And
apologies, Mr. Mayor. Are you able to hear me now, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, okay, now, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So thanks to Councillor Pennell-Thomas for his supplementary question. We will certainly explore the value of setting up such a commission and identify what tangible, practical impact that has had where it has been used elsewhere in the country, and also to make the point that we always try and engage very closely with people right across the borough, people in poverty, people not in poverty, and that's very much at the heart of how we try and change and how we try and improve our services. So, for example, the Flying Start initiative in some of our poorest communities, engagement with the families is at the heart of that, and the service has changed and evolved in response to that. Those services wouldn't be in place now if they weren't responsive and if they weren't popular, because they're services and support that people access out of choice, just as our employability scheme is a service that people choose to take part in. And we have seen increased participation in these programs, not less participation. So I think that's a sign of successful engagement. That's not to be complacent, though, and that's not to say that we don't need to do more. We always need to do more, and we're certainly happy to consider different ways of engaging better with our communities. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Leader. There's opportunity now for 2 supplementary questions. So if members have any supplementary questions, please show now. Councillor John Paul Blundell.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I won't put my camera on because my Wi-Fi is a bit glitchy at the moment. I'm having connection problems. But my question to the leader is this. What action has been taken to tackle food poverty and food poverty and those that are disadvantaged in BCBC through free school meals? Sorry about that. Lost my word in there.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Did you want me to respond
Please,
to that? Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Another interesting question, and members will be well aware of the provision that we put in place to make sure that no child went hungry at the start of the pandemic, by first of all providing packed lunches and then providing food parcels. We've continued to provide those food parcels, and thanks to the commitment of funding from our government, we will continue to provide those food parcels, not just during term time, but during school holidays as well, and not just the school summer holidays, but other holidays throughout the year. And we know from the feedback we've received that has been appreciated and welcomed by many of the families, and there are thousands of families that benefit from that support. Indeed, it's over 5,000 pupils that benefit from the food parcels. Now, we are doing some work around, and we continue to do work around encouraging more people to sign up for free school meals, and that will be a priority for us going forward, because not everyone who is eligible does sign up for a free school meal. So we're going to put extra effort into that, because we know that sadly, as a result of the pandemic, more families will be eligible for free school meals. Families that never dreamed they would need or be eligible for such support, but it is there for them. They should take it. It's really important that they make use of that benefit. It is there for people who need that help. And I'm also pleased as well that Welsh Government have funded the school holiday enrichment programme, so that even more children will benefit this year from activities, play and learning activities through the school summer holidays. And a crucial part of that programme is that children receive a very healthy, nutritious, and I should add a very tasty, because I've tried it myself, a very tasty meal at lunchtime, and that helps encourage the healthy eating habits, which we are looking for more children to take up as part of growing up, because we do know that unfortunately the diet for some of our children, particularly children from disadvantaged families, is typically worse, not always, but typically worse than it would be for children from families where the household income is higher, Mr. Mayor, and I'm certainly happy to share more details of that with Councillor Blundell and with other members, because it's such an important area for us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Leader. One further supplementary question, that's Councillor Sorrell Dendy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Valleys Regeneration Framework from 2019 gives an overview of the issues faced in the areas north of the M4 and makes reference to the fact that the Valleys area is 13 lower super output areas, classed as being in 20% of the most deprived in Wales. The report highlights some startling points. 27% of people in the Garrow Valley have limited long-term illness, who have limited access to healthcare provision. 35% of our adults in the Garrow Valley have no qualifications, serious lack of job opportunities, the blight of derelict large-scale buildings impacting on mental well-being and community pride, and the enormous need for public transport, with 27% of households in the Garrow Valley alone having no car. And in recent years, as we know, subsidies have been cut and reduced of routes. Although these statistics I have mentioned relate to the Garrow Valley, they're also faced by the Ogmore and Lindsey communities. These really play into the poverty, in creating poverty in these communities. Will this council be dedicated in fulfilling that framework and tackling these issues that feed into the poverty in our communities?
Absolutely. I think Councillor Dendy rightly identifies some of those challenges. They're challenges that have blighted our communities for generations now, particularly since the loss of heavy industry, the coal industry. That was a massive blow to those communities, and it has been hard and difficult to recover from that. However, we are trying our best. Councillor Dendy identifies the Garrow Valley. One of my proudest moments as leader of this authority was to see us opening 2 brand new schools in Betws, a new English medium school and a new Welsh medium school. A record level of investment in the Garrow Valley, and I'm also pleased that the young people benefit from state-of-the-art facilities at Coleg Cymunedol Iddewyn. Children from both the Ogmore and the Garrow Valley, of course, attend that school. And I'm also pleased, and I don't know if Councillor Dendy can make it, that we will be having a groundbreaking ceremony this week for a new childcare facility, Welsh Medium, the first Welsh Medium childcare facility in Blackmill. And again, we're also developing one of those facilities in the Garw as well, because we know from research and evidence that childcare can be a major barrier to work and also to progression in work. And this will meet a major need for improved childcare in both the Ogmore and the Garw Valley. That has been consistently identified as an area of need through the annual childcare survey. I mention that because I refer to those developments because it is regeneration in the wider sense that I know that Councillor Dendy is interested in, and that goes beyond just physical improvements in our town centres. It is also about progression through education. It is about childcare and investing in our children and in our young people. And we are obviously looking at ways that we can enhance the transport infrastructure across the valleys. You will have heard me talk about the transport hub and the park and ride facility, for example, that we are looking to develop in Maesteg at the Iwenny Road site, only possible through the Cardiff Capital City Region investment that we have been securing. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Leader. Well, that brings us then that first question. I think Councillor Tim Thomas may be back in the meeting. I'm not. Yes. Councillor Thomas, yes. So, would you like to put the question and then the response to be received? So, would you like to put a supplementary question on, please, yeah. Councillor Thomas?
Thank you,
to
Mr.
the Cabinet Member communities.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I didn't think I'd be back, but I am. I got back quite easily, even to hear Ross's question. I'd like to thank the Cabinet Member for his response. Very detailed and comprehensive response, very useful response, and for that I'm very grateful. I do note in his response, he does acknowledge that some rights of way are blocked by, and I quote, unscrupulous landowners who deliberately obstruct routes. Some of my constituents have identified this problem in a couple of rights of way across the Valleys Gateway. And these appear to be long-standing problems that before the COVID pandemic, and it is becoming quite frustrating going through the referrals process. So I was wondering, I'd be very grateful if the Cabinet Member would consider joining me on a short walk to have a look at some of these problems with one or two constituents, just to see if we can outline any solutions to get past these problems. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Leader, could you turn your camera off, please, and Councillor Baldwin?
Yes, was the answer, John. I've already undertaken 6, maybe 7 ward walkabouts with councillors throughout their ward. So if Councillor Tim Thomas would like to set it up, then by all means, I will attend.
Great. On a nice sunny day, hopefully, perhaps. Right. Okay. Well, that's.
I have an umbrella. I don't care if it rains.
Are there any supplementary questions from any members on the question right away? No, I don't see anybody indicating. If not, okay, I'll leave that for.
There are people indicating, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, I'm indicating, Mr. Mayor.
Sorry, I had scrolled down the screen. Councillor Ken Watts.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, very much along the lines of what Tim Thomas has just said, that where evidence exists of the over-ploughing of a footpath, I wanted to have reassurance by the Cabinet Member that action would be taken or will be taken to restore that footpath and or rerouting orders applied for. I've had a constituent try to get through and have these matters dealt with by the rights of way officer, but has had no response. So I'd be grateful for the Cabinet Member's assistance in this. Thank you.
Okay. If we could take the other questions, well, perhaps the Cabinet Member can come back on the both. This question, supplementary from Councillor Sorrell Dendy as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In terms of the question when it comes to accessibility, I understand that obviously these routes are going to be on rough ground, etc. Would there be a possibility of this council looking into being able to have a grading system for the routes, so it would make people be able to know before they get onto those rights-of-way routes how accessible it will be to them in terms of the length of the path, the steepness, etc. I know here in the Garrow Valley we're looking at doing such a scheme for our footpaths, and I think it would also help people when they join to go out and access well-being and walk in the community to know what paths, etc., could be accessible in to different levels of fitness and ability. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would have to defer to our officers in relation to the length, gradient and roughness in relation to the paths. I don't know them. So I welcome, and I don't think, to be fair, that is something that I can feed back to, even the officers can feed back to Councillor Dendy today. So that's something that we will come back to. Councillor Watts, by all means, if you want to send your original referral to me, you can do that at any time and I will pick it up for you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Baldwin. Thank you, and we completed that in 21 minutes. So we had 30 minutes, but that's job done. Item 10. Thank you very much, everybody. Last item, item 11, urgent items. There hasn't been any notice given of any urgent items in accordance with paragraph 4 of the Council Procedure Rules. So that brings us to the end of its meeting.